we're back with Kory, and today he has another deck profile for us, and today he's going to be showing us his PSY-Frames.
Pure PSY-Frame. I don't run Yosenjus in this. I don't run any other archetype. It's just PSY-Frames. Fair warning, this deck is not budgets. I do run a strike. I run a couple Omegas. If you're looking to make a decent deck, this is what you want to go for. And as always, change the deck up as you need, as you see fit for your own play style, but just make sure you're having fun when you're playing it. It's pretty much just a huge troll deck, and my friends all hate me for this deck. Anyways, let's begin. So first, I run 2 PSY-Frame Driver. He's normal. I wish I didn't have to run him, but at the same time, you have to run him with all this because you get searched out with every single PSY-Frame hand trap in this deck. 2500 beater. Most people run 3. 2 I found works just fine. It doesn't clog as bad, but mainly due to the next card, PSY-Frame Multi-Threader. This card counts as a PSY-Frame driver while in hand or graveyard. If a PSY-Frame card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can ditch her instead, and that's any PSY-Frame card that includes the field spell, any of your monsters, your traps. Although the trap version that I run in this, you want in your graveyard for the free search. But she also has a secondary effect that in the graveyard, if you special summon a PSY-Frame monster, you can special summon her out from the grave, which combos off well with Telekinetic Power Well to get into like cards like Hot Red Dragon, Archfiend Abyss, and just if you want to go into another Omega, if you need to go into pretty much any of your extra deck, she's incredibly helpful. Next, for the next card, the main searcher of the deck, I run 3 alphas. Whenever your opponent summons a monster, special summons or normal summons a monster, you can special summon this along with a PSY-Frame driver and search any PSY-Frame card out of your deck. This is the only hand trap that does not negate and destroy, which I kind of wish it did sometime, but other times I remember that if it did, it'd be way too overpowered and it would have gotten at probably best the limit. So I'm kind of glad that it doesn't have the destroy. Next comes probably my favorite PSY-Frame hand trap. It's like an angry battle fader. When a monster attacks you, you can special summon this, destroy the attacking monster, and end the battle phase, and special summon out a PSY-Frame driver from the hand, deck, or graveyard, which they all have. Fair warning, all the hand traps in this deck have the same effect where you special summon this plus a driver, and if they're not off the field by the end phase, they're all cards that are special summoned by this effect are banished. So I'm not going to say that for any of the other ones because it's for every hand trap in this one. This one just pretty much stops the battle, destroys the monster, and just an angry battle fader. I love it. Next, I run 3 PSY-Frame Gamma. This guy is your angry effect veiler. Pretty much all these guys are just angry versions of another card. But pretty much your opponent activates a monster effect, you can special summon this, negate and destroy, and just special summon out another driver, which lets you go into Omega, which lets you go into any of your level 8 synchro monsters. Next, I run 3 PSY-Frame Delta. Negates any spells your opponent may play. I usually use this on Twin Twisters, MSTs, any search card of any variance. It just negate, destroy. It's a level 2, so you can go into Omega. And finally, for the PSY-Frame hand traps, I run 2 Epsilon. I feel most of my opponents don't really run that many traps, but when they do, it's something like it's something that I kind of just don't want them to get off. Call of the Haunted, Oasis of the Dragon Souls, I think it's called. Just anything that's not a quick play. This guy's your man, and once again, he's a level 2 tuner, which lets him combo off quite well. And the only non-PSY-Frame monster I run in this deck, I run 3 Card D. It's a free +1. You end your turn, but like I said earlier, this deck does not play on your turn. It plays during your opponent's turn, so just giving you more fodder to kind of mess up your opponent, and it's just really, really fun. All right, onto the spells. I run 3 PSY-Frame Circuit. You kind of have to run 3. This field spell makes this deck go haywire. If you're not running it, you're not running PSY-Frames properly. That's all I'm going to say. It lets you synchro during your opponent's turn, lets you boost their attack if they're attacking, and if they're getting attacked by something you incredibly strong. And, well, it's just helpful no matter what, to be honest. Next is 3, Pot of Duality. It's just pretty much excavate the top 3, look at them, choose one, add it to your hand. Sure, you can't special summon that turn, but once again, you're not playing during your turn. You're playing during your opponent's, so it does not matter in the slightest. It's a beautiful card, and I will always love this card. Next, I run 2, Telekinetic Power Well. This card can, when you game, this card lets you synchro climb up into Abyss, lets you just go crazy with your plays. It just makes synchro plays live if you have multi-threader in your graveyard, or if you have a driver in hand, you can special summon out a bunch of your level 2 tuners, tribute off one of them, and then synchro up. The plays with this card are near endless, and it's even a defensive card, because sure, you might take like 900 damage. Most I think I've ever taken was, yeah, you can take quite a bit of damage depending on how many cards you special summon, but it's great for defensive in case you don't really have much on your field and you can't do much. Next, I run 2 Psychic Field Zones. The amount of your PSY-Frame cards you're going to be banishing, this card is glorious. Lets you special summon any psychic type synchro monster from your extra deck just by returning 2 banished cards to your graveyard, and it's incredibly helpful due to the sheer fact of if you're going second, you play a bunch of cards to negate your opponent's stuff. They end turn without destroying the stuff. Both of them get sent to the graveyard, and you have this in your hand. You play it, and you get a free synchro monster, which usually you go into a Mega or Zeta, depending on what you want to do. Or if you just want to, yeah, it's usually a Mega or Zeta. And then last for the spells, I run 1 Psychic Path, because with the PSY-Frame trap, you'll be banishing a lot of your PSY-Frame cards, and adding them back to your hand can mean that can be the difference between winning and losing a duel altogether. So it's incredibly helpful. Sure, you have to pay 800 life points, but in the grand scheme of things, that really does not matter with this deck. For the traps, I run 3 Reckless Greed. I like this card because if you get off all 3, it's a +1. If you add up if you do the totals, and if you really need extra cards in your hand, that skipping next 2 draw phases really doesn't hurt you all too much. I was thinking about switching this out for good Goblin Housekeeping, but at the same time, this card's helped me out of a lot of tough situations. All right, on to my last one of my last traps. Run 3 PSY-Frame Overload. Pretty much, you get to start banishing your opponent's stuff, which is always a cheeky thing to do because it banishes it face down, so they're pretty much useless to your opponent unless they're playing a full banish deck, which is this deck's like weakness, by the way. But banish one of your own PSY-Frame cards from hand or field face up, and you banish 1 card on the field face down. And you can use this if they go into an incredibly strong monster that you just don't want them to have on the field. And best part is, you can use it during your turn and your opponent's turn, since it's a trap. So pretty much just once per turn on either player's turn, you can start banishing stuff. And then last for the traps, which kind of makes the deck not budget, I run 1 Strike. $32 card when I bought it. Don't know what's up to now. Now that the reprints have been announced for it, but it's just another negate to add to the deck, and the 1,500, as with the rest of the deck, you're really not going to care about. You only run 1 for, well, you're losing life points a lot in this deck. Anyways, that's it for the main deck. On to the extra deck. First, on 2 Black Rose Dragons. This card is it's a really trolly card, because if you summon off Alpha with the field spell on board, you summon Alpha, bring out a driver, get the search effect from Alpha to bring, say, like, multi-threaded to your hand. You synchro summon into Black Rose Dragon, nuke the field, ditch the multi-threader to keep your field spell on the field, and now the entire field is nuked. Your opponent will have a lot of times have trouble coming back from that. It kind of forces out their strikes. They have to do it, or they're just going to lose everything. Next, I run 1 Psychic Life Transfer, the only card in this deck that really helps you gain life points that I summon off kind of consistently. But removing cards from play can combo off well with Psychic Feel Zone, so you can just kind of start banishing your stuff, gain life points, and then play Psychic Feel Zone. Yeah, Psychic Feel Zone to just synchro up and add another card on the board. Once again, I usually go into Omega with it. This is the only other card I really use Psychic Feel Zone for if I really need the life point boost. Next, I run 2 PSY-Framelord Zeta. Your opponent got an XYZ monster on the field that you don't like? Play Zeta. They lose all their materials when it's banished. You get, and best part about both the PSY-Framelords is after they come back from the banish zone due to their own effect on standby phase, it does not count as a special summon since it says return, so Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning will not work on that, although Solemn Strike you can negate the effect altogether of the initial banish, so you gotta be careful of that, but at the same time, both the PSY-Framelords love being in the grave. I love him in the grave just in case there's something I need in my hand that's in my grave. I can get him out by synchroning up through him, send him to grave, add something back to my hand, and then use it as I need. Next, I run 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. It's a level 7. It's got protection for your monsters if you're going to make a board. And I've only gotten into this card like 3 times since I've gotten this deck. And like I said, it's really only if I'm trying to protect my board, which you have to slowly make in this deck. Next, I run 1 Yazi Evil Yang Zing. Might get some shit for this, but this card can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and it pops itself off the field to pop one of your opponent's monsters, so it just clears your own board while clearing theirs at the same time, and this deck loves to have an open field. It needs it for its hand traps. 2 cards I am really thinking about taking out of here are both the Stardust Dragon cards, because this one just protects something, and sure, it's good for building board, but at that point I usually have Omega on the field, I usually have Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and I usually have Crystal Wing, so in all honesty I'd probably go into Stardust Dragon first over this one. Next, 1 Scrap Dragon. Same exact reason as why I run Yazi. Clear your field and clear your opponent's field. On to the next one. I run 1 Thought Ruler Archfiend. In all honesty, I really only have this card in there because it can help you gain life points, but at the same time, it also helps. It's just another negate in case they play targeting cards and stuff like that. And here's one of the main reasons this deck is not budget. You have to run at least 2 Omegas. I was lucky and pulled this one out of a $4 card pack. This one I had to buy for 50 some bucks. It sucked, but I'm just glad I didn't have to buy them both. This card is probably your kingpin of this deck. You start banishing this, interrupting your opponent's hand, messing them up. You get to see what you pull out of your opponent's hand, so you can kind of plan around it next time. And if you have both these guys on the field, main phase 2, you can banish one of them. Look at your opponent, pull 1 card out of your opponent's hand. If it's a spell that you don't want them to have, it's a trap you don't want them to set, then during standby phase, you can use the second one's effect to put it into the grave instead of returning to their hand next turn. And then once your standby phase comes back, you get them back. You get your PSY-Framelord Omega back, and their card's stuck in the graveyard, so it does not return to their hand. And another reason this deck is somewhat non-budget is 1 Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, which I never use as effect. I just use him to synchro climb into Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, which is a free negate. You get a special summon tuners, which comes off well with Multi-Threader. You special summon out a level 2 tuner in defense position. Bring out Multi-Threader, you get to go into a free level 8 or level 7, depending on what you bring back. Anyways, guys, that's it for the deck profile. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And as I always say, make sure you tweak the deck to how you see fits, so you're actually having fun while you're playing this deck. And just remember, play the game, have fun, and just have a great day.
Thank you, Kory.
Get rickety wrecked!
Thank you, Justin.